Hey guys, how's it going? Today I just want to talk about making others into victims in our mind. It's it's a very common thing. It's a very noble feeling thing to do, to make someone a victim. Because when you see someone as a victim, someone else, you empathize with them, you pity them, you feel love for them, and so that feels noble. It feels like, I can, I whether I can do something about it or not, I at least give them all of my love and attention, and my heart goes out to them, because they are suffering, they are, they are weak. There's something overpowering them, and I feel bad for them, right? That's sort of our feelings whenever we are observing someone as a victim. But further than that, what we're doing is we're actually degrading them in a way, by thinking of them as a victim, because truly they're not a victim. There are no victims in reality, and I know that sounds like a very harsh thing to say, but if you can come to the understanding for yourself that you are not a victim and you have never been a victim, and going to that's a separate topic, but if you've already come to that understanding that victim mentality in no way serves you and that it's just not true, that you're not a victim of anything, then this must be applied to other people too. If we are in this understanding that, no, I am not a victim, we can't just think that applies to ourselves and not to others. And we don't want to lower ourselves to that, that point of lack of ability to react or respond to a situation, thinking that there's nothing we can do, when in fact there's always something we can do. We can always understand, love, and accept and forgive. That's always what we can do, and everyone else has this available to them in any circumstances as well. And so because of that, we don't want to lower others down by thinking of them as victims, by thinking of them as, as weak, because it's not true. It's an illusion. God wanted to experience what it was like to be perceiving a situation where it seemed like they were a victim, so that God could come to the understanding through experience, for the experience, that no, under no circumstances am I a victim. This illusion shows me what I am by showing me what I am not. And so again, that feeling, right? It's easy to think of a harsh example for this, like, someone harming a child, hurting a child, right? Of course, yes, the child is physically unable to protect themselves. Yes. But we also can't think of that child as a victim in an absolute sense. Perhaps in a relative sense, yes, there was nothing they could have done about that situation, but that doesn't make their identity the identity of a victim. What their identity is still the same as what your identity is, which is infinite, abundant love and safety, and nothing, because nothing real can be threatened. This body is not real, and so yes, this body can be threatened, but this body is not what is real about me. When this body is gone, I am still here. experience isn't the same, but I am still here. So, that feeling you get when you think about a child being harmed, right? It's this feeling of disgust, this feeling of that's, absolutely horrible, it's wrong. And that feeling of love and empathy for the child, all of that's correct. I'm not saying that that is not true and that is not correct. All of that is true and it is correct, because what you're feeling, our emotions are understood as positive emotions are belief in something true, negative emotions are belief in something false. So for example, the love you feel for that child that is being harmed, this is a true emotion, a true belief of, yes, I love and I empathize with that person who is suffering, because I too have suffered and I know that what they're going through is tough. And so that love for them is absolutely true. You love them as yourself, you see them as yourself because you relate, you empathize, and that's absolutely true. And then the negative feeling of, oh, this is wrong, right? That negative feeling in itself, that negative feeling cannot be understood without understanding the corresponding love that comes with it, right? Because when you have that internal understanding, oh, this is wrong, this is negative, there's a corresponding rightness, right? The situation, what situation would be right. And so that, that is hidden in there in the negative, right? And so that part of it is true, right? And then the part that is false is the belief that someone is actually being harmed, someone is actually being made a victim, and that something real about them is being damaged, right? Something that's unrecoverable is being done. That's not true. There is no such thing as permanent damage or permanent harm. So this aspect of the belief in victimhood is where the false belief is. That is where the false belief lies. In believing that something real is being threatened. And then someone may say, well, what about a child, that was traumatized, was harmed, and then was traumatized, and then experienced, depression and PTSD as they grew up as a result of this, experience. Well, obviously we empathize with that as well, and the love we feel for them is true. But again, calling them a victim would not be true, because we don't want to lower them to something that they are not. The truth is that their being is infinite, just like yours and mine. We all have trauma we can all recover from. Everything is recoverable, and in fact must be forgiven and recovered eventually. So yeah, this this example, right, of the child that has the lasting issues as a result of an incident. Well, this is simply understood as a continuation of the experience. And we're all experiencing these traumas all the time. And while it may seem that we know that certain traumas are worse than others, truth is that we don't. We don't know what's worse because everyone's perspective is different, right? You've heard of Stockholm Syndrome, perhaps, where someone falls in love with their captor. Someone who is kidnapped falls in love with the one who has kidnapped them, right? We look at that scenario and say, oh, well, they're kidnapped. Obviously, though, their suffering is not equivalent to all kidnappings. All kidnappings are not created equal, right? So this is just to illustrate the point that we put things in defined boxes with our assumptions. We write things off as, oh, this person is a victim now. I feel bad for them, and feeling bad for them makes me feel better because I see this injustice. I see this injustice, and I've decided that this is injustice, and that this person is a victim of this injustice. And by me feeling love for them and thinking of them as a victim, I feel noble that I am choosing the path of righteousness by pitying them in this way. But the important part here is to see the truth that the love you feel is always correct, but then lowering someone to the point of a victim is what's not correct. And lowering others to victimhood is lowering yourself to victimhood. The way we perceive others is the way we perceive ourselves. The way we think of ourselves and perceive ourselves is the way we will think and perceive of others. What we see in them, we see in ourselves. What we see in ourselves, we see in them. So, yeah, that was a little all over the place, but hopefully the main point landed. That it can feel good, it can feel noble, it's very subtle, this form of degradation. It's very subtle, because it feels so good to pity others. But there's no need to pity others, because just like you, they are infinitely strong, infinitely powerful, infinitely loved. That is your and their true nature. So, thank you. Bye.